welcome to another video at SSBB Projects. Today we're going to continue the work on the Audi A3 front bumper. Going to do a bit more filling, primer, and then give it the first coat of paint and let it all cure nicely. So let's get on with it. Alright, so what we're going to start with is just some 1200 grit, just to get all the imperfections out, see what else we need to fill in, and then mix up some more filler and start filling it in. Right, so we've put a bit more filler on where the imperfections were. Let that dry nicely, 15 minutes should be okay. Sand it smoothly. Another coat of primer, let that dry and start doing wet and dry, and a couple of coats of primer just to build up the layers and get rid of any small little imperfections. Right, so what I've done is I've actually dismantled the whole front grille off completely, just to expose the bumper skin itself, which will make it easier for working. Don't have to mask nothing off, easier to sand down, prime and paint, and then I can just put the grille back on once it's all done. It's just a few screws and the clips and that's it. Should have really done this before, but hey, made it a little bit easier for myself now. So let's get cracking with sanding. Right, so that is the bumper already sanded down. Used some 1200 grit as well, got it nice and smooth, degreased it, used a tack cloth just to get rid of any last bits of dust or anything like that. So now it's ready for spraying. What we're going to do is some primer, let that dry, and then see any more imperfections, sand it down, a bit more primer, keep going that way till we get a smooth surface, and then it's going to be ready for the top coat, for the base coat. We are just using normal grade plastic primer, which is perfect for this job. Right, so the primer's all dry now. Gonna use some warmish, soapy-ish water, start wet and dry, get it all cleaned up, see where the imperfections are, bit more primer, carry on doing layer by layer until we're getting nice and smooth. So let's go. we're doing is just very lightly getting rid of any imperfections. Don't press too hard. And make sure that the paper is constantly kept wet. What we don't want to do is burn through the actual paint and cause more work for ourselves. Right, so now we're ready for the second coat of primer. It's all dry, I've degreased it, tack clothed it and everything, so just going to use the grey primer again and do the second coat. Right, so now I've applied the second coat of primer. This coat was slightly thicker than the first one, and it's looking good so far. I do see a few scratch marks, etc., but these will get ironed out with a bit more wet and dry. So it's looking a lot better now. Let's go around this side and I'll show you what it looks like. Almost ready for its top coat. Apologies for the camera not being able to focus. Right, so now we're going to do the third and final coat of primer. Do a quick wet and dry just to get it all smooth, and then let it dry for about 15-20 minutes. Clean it all up, and then we start with the base coat. Right, so now we are ready for the base coat, which is the colour Audi Brilliant Black. Hopefully going to try and blend the paint in as best as possible now. Bearing in mind I am an amateur, not really done many jobs like this before, so I'm not expecting the best results. I've washed the whole bumper, degreased it, used a tack cloth as well, and now it's just ready for the first coat. Wish me luck. Right, so that's the first coat of Audi Brilliant Black applied. Gonna leave that for a good few hours to set now. It's not looking too bad. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so I'm not expecting workshop kind of finish. And to be fair, some garages which I've used before can't even do it this good, and they have all the right equipment. So let that cure, and we'll just keep applying, and I reckon another 2 coats, light coats, and we should be okay. And then once it's all dried over the next few days, a couple of coats of lacquer, and then give it a quick mop to blend it in with the rest of it.